Blayne Smith!
Thanks, Andrew. Happy to be here. Happy to kick the show off for you guys. Sorry it's on such a stabby note. I'm a scary-looking guy to ease you into this, but we're just gonna do it because it's not really my fault. I'm a scary-looking guy. A lot of it is this hair, the long hair. You see a guy with long hair, and you're like, I know what kind of guy that is. That's a real specific type of guy. But I can only be a long-haired guy because there's 3 acceptable haircuts for a man. You can do what I do, which is not get a haircut. You can shave it all off, or you can do short on the sides, a little bit more on the top. If you're sitting beside a gentleman, look at him. He for sure fits one of these 3 boxes. I challenge you to prove me otherwise. If you walk into a barbershop, there's just 3 pictures. It's that, and then there's a picture of me with a big no crossed out through it. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. But I have to have this haircut. This is the only haircut I can have. Because if I shave my whole head off, I look like a Nazi in American History X. And it's a really bad look for a comedian. I'm trying to tell you jokes, you're trying to count how many swastika tattoos I have. I have 0 swastika tattoos for the record. Let's just be all on board there. And then you're like, all right, back it off a little bit. Short on the sides, a little bit more on the top. That's a great look. There's some handsome gentlemen here doing that. Can't do that because I still look like a Nazi though. It's a little more fun, it's a little more playful. It's like an Indiana Jones Nazi. It's like he hates Jews, but he believes in magic, so that's silly, right? That's nice. So I just do the no haircut, which makes me look like just like an average guy that sells a real normal, not like a crazy man, just a living wage in meth. Just a real working class meth dealer up here trying to tell you some jokes. And it's weird, having the long hair makes everyone think they can just say whatever they want to you, because you're like looking at a guy like this, you're like, he is absolutely not going to ask for my manager no matter what I do. I was getting on the subway the other day and I had a $5 bill, so I needed to talk to the guy who breaks $5 bills for a living. Okay. And so I went up to him and I gave him the bill and he took it, but he sort of held it hostage in his little box and went, "You get a lot of girls with that hair?" Am I getting heckled by a public transit worker? It's a pretty low level of employee to be coming at you, I think we can all agree. It's like, buddy, just because your glass house is bulletproof doesn't mean you should throw stones. It's midnight and you're working. But he could see I got a little mad, so he asked the question again kind of earnestly. He was like, "Do you get a lot of girls with that hair?" And I was like, "Oh, great. TTC worker wants to know about my sex life. Conversation I want to have even less than that previous conversation. Great." So I tried to pass it off and I said, "I don't know, I do all right." And he said, "I bet you do. Never get married. You'll wind up like Tiger Woods," and made me high-five him through the glass. I was like, what is happening? Am I getting on the subway or visiting my Uncle Dave in prison? Jesus. That's a weird experience for me. But that's, yeah, I mean, my life is kind of made up of weird experiences. When you're a comic, you pretty much travel to every small town in Ontario, and there's something wrong with all of them. Every single one. I was in Sudbury 3 weeks ago. If you haven't been to Sudbury, it's a town that chose to represent itself with a 30-foot high nickel. You know, the second worst coin possible? Or as it's now known in Canada, the worst coin? So he suggested that to Sudbury as a new name for their town. I was like, Sudbury, now the worst. And they didn't go for that. They weren't super pumped on that. And I was like, hey man, whatever. When you choose to represent yourself with $9.55 worth of change, what do you expect people to think about your town? But I did a show there, and then afterwards, as is customary, you go out and you get as drunk as physically possible in some place where they can't hold you accountable. And so we found a bar in Sudbury that's the craziest bar I've ever been to in my life. Because there's a weird thing about this bar. The bar is L-shaped, and when you go into the bar, it seems like a normal bar and you're having some drinks. And then once you get a little bit drunk, you get a little bit curious, and you explore the L. But once you turn the corner of this bar in Sudbury, you're just in a strip club. Like, there's not like a line or a sign or a rope or a dude that's like, hey man, you ready to go to the strip club? It's just bar, 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 strip club. It's like a strip club waiting pool. The instant you're drunk enough for one of your buddies to be like, hey man, let's go see the strip. Oh wait, we're already there. Good business decision. So, as is customary, I got strip club attached to bar drunk. Which you might know as blackout drunk, completely blackout drunk. And then you know when you're blackout drunk, it's sort of like one of those viewfinders you had as a kid. You're like looking in it, you're like, all right, I see a panda. I can assume I'm in Asia, I'm not a moron. And then click, next slide, it's a lion, you're in Africa, you have no idea how you got there or what's happening, right? So, I'm in the bar, I think things are going great. Blackout, come to, and I'm at my Best Western in Sudbury, which is located conveniently across the street from a Salvation Army homeless shelter. Wasn't a big difference between the two establishments, let me tell you what. But there was a mild problem because I was locked out of my hotel room and I was only wearing my underwear, which is not a great look for me, especially considering I now have to go talk to some poor lady that works downstairs. Because I have a tattoo of a sword going down to my dick. It doesn't go on to my dick, but if the first time you meet me I'm only wearing underwear, it forces you to think, does that sword go onto his dick? And then my dick's just in your head for our entire first conversation. It's a real gray cloud to hang over the interaction, I think we can agree. That's not a great first meeting, but I was like, well, I gotta do this, there's no other choice. So I go down there, but it's like 5 a.m. and the lady's just not there. She's off studying for, I don't know, an Everest College nursing diploma or something. I'm like, well, I guess I have to sit on this couch and wait for her. I don't know if that's a health code violation or whatever, but I'm sitting on in my underwear. So I sit on the couch and I black out again. But when I come to, I can only assume I'm working at the Best Western in Sudbury because I am behind the counter rummaging through the drawers looking for a new room key. And I find a new room key, and I go to the machine, and I enter my room number, and I make it, and I go upstairs, and I go to bed, and I'm like, wow, that was a great idea, I did really good. And then I wake up, and I'm absolutely horrified, because that could have gone incredibly terribly for me, because imagine if I entered any other room number when I was making that room key, and then you're just in Sudbury trying to sleep off the smell of Sudbury, and then this guy stumbles in, and you're like, oh, well, he's clearly from that Salvation Army homeless shelter, and it's time to call the police. And I'm going to have a very hard time convincing them that I'm not from that Salvation Army homeless shelter, considering I am in my underwear without any identification and displaying not one, but 6 separate tattoos of wolves I have. And that's a real homeless amount of wolf tattoos to have. I just have to spend the rest of my life naked in Sudbury. And as an interesting fact, that's how most people move to Sudbury. All right, I'm Blayne Smith. You're going to love the rest of your show. Thanks so much, guys.